Good evening, this is Sonia from Sterling Results Fitness Club. How are you on this wonderful Sunday afternoon? It's Sonia here with our Staying Healthy conversations that we do every Sunday afternoon to consider ways that we can continue to stay healthy. So welcome to my people who dial in on Sunday. So Jane, thank you very much for dialing in. Tonight's conversation, and I'll cover it again in a few moments, but tonight's conversation is how to manage the silly season. So we've got big December coming up, and the big question is, what are our ways in which we can manage the silly season? So tonight, before we start, how has your week been? I really want to put a big shout out there to a couple of our volunteer people. One, the fireys. You know, we know we've had some devastating fires in Australia, all around Australia, and even this past weekend down in Canberra. Dear friends close to Braidwood, and they shared their stories on Facebook. So Australia has been hit hard, but the resilience of our firefighters are fantastic. So no matter where we are, we should give a big round of applause and a big support any way we can help our fireys in supporting them, because they are keeping our country, our people, our houses safe. So in the city we don't know about it, but we definitely feel for the country people. And the second one I want to say thank you to are the big SES guys, because this week was a monster week on Tuesday in Sydney. So if you watched around the globe or you were here in person, Sydney got hammered. It was actually, I'm here in Willoughby, and it's one of the suburbs that was most affected by this little mini tornado that went through. I didn't get affected at all. It sort of jumped over our street just to the back of Willoughby and then dived down and really took out quite a lot of trees, power lines, put trees onto the railway lines. People only got electricity back yesterday after being out from Tuesday. So a big thank you to the SES guys. They are doing a wonderful job cleaning up. And obviously to the power companies whose job it is to get the power back on, but to the SES guys, I know that they're out there getting those trees off the power lines and helping the houses and all the cars that were smashed. I mean, it was dramatic. So I hope everyone was safe, and none of my team were involved in that too much. So big shout out to those this week. We actually saw some of that damage, not just the damage that was done from Tuesday, but the damage that's been done for some time out on our hikes now, because with the drought, all the trees are starting to lose their ability to be embedded into the ground, and then you get the strong winds. So on our hikes, it's like an obstacle course. Today we went out and it was just climbing over all of these trees that have fallen over. So this path I normally go on, never see a downed tree. And you might see some posts from us on Facebook or on Instagram. But the trees were down everywhere. And that's just the tornado that happened this week, or the big winds. But also we've seen a lot of trees fall down in the last 6 months just because their roots are not strong enough anymore. There's no rain. So I'm not going to do a climate change thing here, but certainly our forests are in deep strife with water. So if you're out hiking on your own, just be careful. Watch the trees, because if you try to grab one, it might be a little bit less stable as you're out there at the moment. So just to keep aware of that. So tonight, Staying Healthy Conversations is all about surviving the silly season. So again, as a conversation, I need you to type down some things. If you agree with something I say, put a like up there, put a love heart, put a thumbs up, write a comment. But more importantly, if you've got some tips, other people are going to see this video later on, either tonight, or they're going to watch it as a replay on YouTube or my Facebook, on my website. And they'd love to get some other tips. I have some, but I bet our audience has more tips to go along. So what do we need to know? Well, the silly season, it is December. And once December starts, what happens? We're out to functions, function after function after function. I see it on Facebook posts right now. I'm out to this event, I'm out to that event, smiling here, glass of champagne there. We don't want to stop that. We want to keep enjoying our life, but how do we survive it? There's going to be nothing worse than mid-January you coming to me or going to a friend and saying, I've just put on 5 kilos of weight. How am I going to get rid of it? It'll take you 6 months to get rid of your 5 kilos of weight that you put on in 1 month. So what can we do to manage that? And again, drop down any of your ideas as we go through this. My number one of managing the silly season is keep exercising. Pretty straightforward. You're already doing exercise. You're probably already walking. You're coming to the gym. You're doing something magical. So just keep that up. Don't stop it. Remember, calories in versus calories out. Exercise is calories out. You want to make sure that you are constantly exercising so that your total calories in is not going to be greater than, so it's going to be less than or equal to your calories out. So let's just do a quick maths. If you're allowed 1,400 to 1,500 calories a day, a normal woman my age is about a 1,500 calorie a day if you want to maintain your weight. If you go and exercise and you do 200 calories of exercise, you do a hike, whoops, 1,000 calories, yes. But you do a normal gym class, it might be 200, 300 calories of exercise. Therefore, you've got 1,700 calories you can use for the day. I'm not asking you to count calories, but just think about that. If I've been able to exercise, I can probably have a little bit more in the fun part later on in the evening. So exercise all the time. Don't stop that in December. And how do we manage that? So if you've got a function in the afternoon, make sure you're getting your exercise done in the morning. Don't just go, oh, well, I can't get to the class this afternoon. I'll just miss it today. Get disciplined and go in the morning. And it's going to take effort this month to add these in, but do so. I've got a breakfast event. I can't go to the morning event or the evening event. Get your 10 minutes of fast walking in at lunchtime. Take those shoes to work and briskly walk. We've talked about in other episodes that 10 minutes of fast walking 3 times a day is as good as 10,000 steps. So fast walking is getting that heart rate up. You only have to do 10 minutes, and we can all find 10 minutes before breakfast, 10 minutes when we come home from work, and 10 minutes at lunchtime. Just get a little bit of that cardio burn going, not a leisurely walk where you take the dog. That'll happen later. Get out there and get that heart pumping. It's like a high intensity workout. So just something to keep your heart rate up, to go up a hill even. That's another way of getting that 10 minutes in, walk up a hill. You'll find that your heart rate's working. So 10 minutes 3 times a day is really good. But especially at this time, try and at least get that in on the days you can't go to do your normal exercise. Also, hey, what about trying our weekly hike program? Now, that's a great idea. We find, and this has been proven now over the last 3 years as I've run my hiking program, that if you come out every week, you are getting a very good cardio and endurance burn. So you'll get fitter just by doing hiking every week. Even if you don't go to the gym, by just getting out and hiking each week, constantly, don't miss a week, constantly going out, you will constantly get fitter and healthier. So if you can't fit everything in, at least try and get a really long walk. Why do I love our hikes? We have a motto. We walk fast on the flat and our own pace up hills. So we don't again, it's not a leisurely bushwalk. It is a hike fit program. We're there to keep our fitness level up and to build our muscle groups. We build our glutes and our hamstrings and our quads because we're doing constantly boulder climbing or jumping over trees. If you're using poles, we're getting our upper body strength going. It's a great whole body exercise. It gets our heart rate up because there's always hills. And by doing 2.5 to 3 hours of hiking, you're getting a fabulous endurance program in. So if you haven't taken up hiking and you want to get some excellent workout in during this December, come and join my Hike Fit program or somebody else's. So exercise is number one during the silly season. So hi Sandy, how are you, darling? I'm just talking about how we're going to survive the silly season. And so the first one is keep exercising. That is the most important thing, and try to do something every day. Second thing is, let's talk about what we can do at functions. And again, this is where I'm going to need your feedback. What do you do to manage the functions? Because we have so many functions now. So you're going out to a cocktail party on a Friday night. What could you do before going out? Perhaps you could have a little bit of protein before you go out. So fill up maybe some cheese before you go out. Maybe have a protein bar, have a protein shake, a bit of chicken from last night. I put my diary on. I walk into the city and usually can get at least 10 to 15 minutes of brisk walking in the streets and dodging the crowds at lunchtime. There we go. That was coming back to how we can keep exercising during our daily, or getting some daily exercise in and getting that 10 minutes of brisk walking. Thank you, Cecilia, for sharing that with us. It's so easy, isn't it? 10 minutes out of your day, just a quick walk during lunch, maybe in the afternoon, maybe morning tea. Instead of sitting and having that coffee, get out, take the coffee with you and go for a walk. So we were saying, how do we survive the functions? I certainly recommend that maybe having some protein, a protein shake, some protein before going out. What is that going to do? You're going to be fuller before going out, and there you won't pick as much at the bad foods as they come around. Function food is beautiful, it's delicious, but there's a lot of it is you don't know what's in it. It's made with fried food some of the times. Some parties have the old, Australian party pies. Some do the dim sims. Some just have beautiful knaps that are just too good to die for. But if you could limit the amount of fast food or canapes that you're having, that might help you get through the silly season. If you had to do every night doing that, you're going to put on the pounds. So if we want to try and maintain our weight or our healthiness, then think of ways to do it. So one, perhaps put some protein in before you go out. Hydration. Often our functions are straight after work, or they're a lunchtime function. And if they're straight after work especially, you've had a big day, you probably haven't drunk enough during the day, you're probably dehydrated. So the first thing we do is we go into a function, they offer us a glass of wine at the door, we take it. Before we know, we've got the second one in our hand because the first one went so quickly. Have a gallon of water, have a litre of water, have half a litre of water before going to the function. A, it's going to fill you up a little bit more. B, it's going to get your thirst. It's going to quench that thirst that you've got, that dehydration. It's going to rehydrate you. By having the water before you go in, then when you pick up the glass of wine, it won't go as quickly. You might find that one glass will last you a half an hour or more. You won't have to rush to it. Secondly, interchange your water with your sparkling water. So when that waiter comes around, pick up a sparkling water every now and then. So it's just going to be healthier for your internals if we just try and minimize as much alcohol as we can, because we're going to have a lot of it this month. So if we can reduce it whenever possible, more soda water, more mineral water, fill up before you go, and think about when you take that glass, when was the last time I took one? So I always think water's a great one. And the other one I've got, which is not so kind, maybe not go to as many events. If you have a function every night, pick the ones you want to go to. So, I don't want you to miss out on anything I might be throwing, so come to mine. But maybe don't go to the one on Thursday. So you might have to make a choice. If I've got 4 functions this week, can I go to 2? Do I need to go to the other 2? So sometimes making that choice is important too. So exercise more every day so that you can prepare for what you're going to do. Number 2, at the function itself, try to have some protein, fill you up before you go so you're not hoeing into all the nibbly bits as they come past. Make sure you're hydrated before you go so you're not guzzling down the alcohol as soon as it walks past you. And decide if you need to go to every function, because after a while, you come December, you've been out to function 16 days out of 20, you might be going, I've really had enough of this. So, maybe do 2 a week, 1 a week. Just pick your numbers depending on what your commitment is. So once again, what are your tips? What are ways that you can manage the function? Third topic, Christmas Day or Christmas week. So we've done really well. We've exercised. We've managed to be able to get through the silly season. We've done really well, and now we've got this week off. So most businesses might shut down. You've got a week off, or you've chosen to take 2 weeks holiday to be with the family, and now it's luxury time. We're going out, we're eating more, we're socializing more. So the same rules apply. Make sure you exercise every day, and even on Christmas Day. If you've got a gap between your brunch and your lunch, why don't you go out with one of the members of your family and go for a nice walk? half an hour on the pavement. It's quiet as a mouse. There'll be no one out there. And you can wear off your brunch before going in and having some more lunch. So, it's a great idea, even on Christmas Day, even on New Year's Day, just to get some walking in. I'm not talking you to go to the gym. I'm not saying go and make it hard. Just do something really simple. And you know what the best bit about this is? Do it with a friend. Use the time in the Christmas period to catch up with wonderful friends. But instead of catching up and sitting down over coffee, catch up and go for a walk. Go to the beach. Nice long beach walks. How good would that be? Bring them up. I haven't seen you for all year. I haven't seen you since last January. Why don't we catch up? Can we meet at Balmoral and go for a walk? Hey, have you been down to see Cremorne Port lately? I love that walk around Cremorne Point to Mosman. By the way, I do love it. It's a beautiful walk. But bring a friend up and say, hey, come with me. I'll meet you at Cremorne Point. We'll walk around to the Mosman Rowers and have a coffee there, and then we'll come back again. So, get out with a mate, see Sydney, see your local area. If you're in Adelaide, there's a beautiful Sea Cliff walk down towards Brighton and beyond. If you're in Melbourne, there's 1,000 Staircase up in the Yarra Valley. I'm not sure what's in Perth, someone can tell me. In Queensland, get out onto the beaches. So wherever you are in Australia or global or in Sydney, think about, I need to catch up with a friend, I need to do it. I'm going to do it so that I do a little bit of exercise just to make sure I'm utilising my energy efficiency or using my energy so that I'm actually not going to be putting on the 5 kilos of weight that some people do. Now, I know we're not going to, but you might remember that some people do this, and they always have a struggle because then it becomes January and before we blink, we're into that, oh dear, I've got to go and take it off. So they're my tips for the pre-area. Once again, I'm sure you've got some really great ideas. I'd love you to share them with the audience. But I need to talk about one more elephant in the room, and it's called Christmas Day present, and it's commonly known as our friend chocolate. Put your hand up if you get chocolate or give chocolate at Christmas, because it happens. It's probably the biggest gift giving, besides Easter, it's probably the biggest, easiest gift that we give or we get. So chocolate is our enemy. I mean, we love it. And unless you're really good and you can have chocolate in your house for 3 months and just have a little bit every now and then that's fantastic. But if you're like most people, you get chocolate and then somehow it's gone. And it's not because the 5 other relatives are in the house eating it. It's sort of just gone. So maybe you could put a sign up and say, no chocolate for me this Christmas. Banning chocolate presents. But also for your friends, maybe do them a favour. Don't go and buy them the Lindt chocolates, as much as they're gorgeous. And I was in Switzerland recently and I just love the Lindt store. I popped in, just bought a little handful. I was pretty good. I only bought about 6 and they lasted me but they did last me quite a long time when I came back to Australia. But, do your friends a favour. Don't buy them a box of chocolates either, a box of Lindt. Save that. Give it to, save someone else to do the damage. Don't you do the damage on your mates. So maybe you could ask for no chocolate this year and make a vow not to give chocolate this year. Who's got the story of, especially if you had kids, who's got the story of, I don't have children, but those who do, giving your kids chocolate? My story is when at Christmas we would get our treats, and it is a treat time. But I used to love, do you remember the honey logs? They were, I don't know who they were by, but they were a nougat-y thing with chocolate around the outside and big coconut sprinkles. They were stunning. Or honey logs, I think they were called. Anyhow, at Christmas, my mum would give me a box of them. So there was 25 in a box. And that would be my treat. And, I'd get that for Christmas. They didn't last that long. They did not last the whole month of January. They sort of were gone probably before New Year's Day. I love them so much. So I don't know if she was doing me a favour. I think she was doing me a disjustice. So, let's just think about that. Can we do our friends and our family and our kids a favour and keep the chocolate out of the Christmas gifts? So there are my simple guidelines for surviving the silly season. Once again, I'm just going to finish off with a tip of the week, but once again, I'd love you to give me your tips, not just me, give everyone in the audience your tips on how you are going to survive the silly season. What is it that you can recommend to do to get through this month so that we stay the same now as we do at the end of January, so that or at the beginning of January and the end of January. So my tips are exercise more, not less, and not the same. Exercise more. Hi, Adrian and Ange. How are you? We're talking about surviving the silly season, and I'm just giving a little summary now to say my tips are to survive the silly season, exercise more. When you go to a function, perhaps have a bit of protein before, have a protein shake or something so that you're not eating all the nibbly bits as soon as you get there. Fill up on water before you go to a function because you're probably dehydrated. So make sure that you're hydrated first. So when you take a glass of wine, it's not becoming your hydration. It's becoming something that you'll enjoy. You might only then have one for the night. Maybe choose how many functions you go to. Don't go to 4 a week. Maybe say, I'm going to discipline myself and only go to 2. So pick 2 great functions. On Christmas and New Year, use this time to catch up with friends and do walking and wonderful things with friends. So exercise during that period, but simple exercise, just hiking and walking with friends would be a wonderful thing to do. So keep moving. And fourth, put a sign up on your fridge, no chocolate for me, as a Christmas present. We're sort of vowing not to have or give chocolate Christmas presents. So once again, I've said, drop me your thoughts while I talk through my tip of the week. So at the end of each week, I'm just going to give a little tip of the week. And while we're talking about Christmas presents, my tip of the week is going to be talking about the Christmas present that you want if you're a hiker, and that's hiking shoes. And why do I say this? Because I've had this conversation 3 times with 3 clients this week about what shoes should I buy. So before I do, Adrian says, find the healthy options and fill up on those. There's usually something. Yeah, and they're the ones that no one else eats. So they're great. You go, oh, that one's healthy. That's got salmon and smoked something nice, smoked salmon and cottage cheese in it. So you go, I'll have those because no one else wants the cottage cheese. Good tip. Hiking shoes is a great present. If you're a hiker or you're getting out in the bush in any way or it's form, sales are on, ask your family to give you some hiking shoes. What are the tips to think about when buying hiking shoes? Number 1, make sure they are big enough. Do not buy, if you're a size 8, do not buy a size 8. So the most important thing about hiking shoes is they need to be a half a size to a full size bigger than your normal shoe. So a half a size to a full size bigger than your normal shoe. So go into the store, try on your normal one, but understand that you are going to, when you're going downhill, pound your toe into the top of that shoe. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to get blackened toes. So make your shoes bigger so you have an ability to breathe. Because as you pounce down, your foot is heading down that way and there's no room for it to move. Secondly, make sure that they're wide enough so that you have some movement there. Because you're also going not to wear the cotton socks that you've got here that you wear to the gym. You're going to be wearing nice woolen hiking socks, and they're usually quite thick. So you want plenty of room in your shoe because as you move around, and especially in our bush here in Sydney, you know, you want to be able to move that foot and that foot easily and that shoe easily. So make sure that you're not cramped inside there. So buy your shoes half a size to a full size bigger. It is absolutely imperative that you try them on. Do not buy shoes online until you've actually got the exact shoe you want, you've got the exact size you want, and then you can go and search online. But don't try and buy them without trying them on because they will feel completely different. Every shoe is different. Sometimes one pair of Solomon's work fine on me, the next pair don't fit me that well. So they're not like a runner, they're not like a normal shoe. They are so vital to get right because when you hike, these are your tires. These are the tires on your car that'll keep you going and make you safe. So hiking shoes are vital and the right size is vital. So that's number 1. Number 2, don't buy online. Number 3, buy Gore-Tex waterproof shoes. Even if you think you're never going to walk in a puddle or go out in the rain, guess what? It'll rain on you or there'll be a puddle you didn't know about. So buy Gore-Tex shoes. These are as light as a feather. They look, where's my camera? They look like, you know, nice material ones, but these are Gore-Tex. They don't have to be big and heavy. They don't have to be the monster leather ones. You can have them as light as this. These are probably even about 200 grams, if that. Beautiful shoes, but they're a Gore-Tex waterproof shoe, so they're really key. The most important thing I look for is the sole, and again, I'm going to bring it up to the camera. The most important thing I look for is the sole. What I really want when I'm looking for a hiking shoe is a really deep cut in these areas here. We're looking for a really deep cut in your sole. Why are we looking for that? Because they will stick to the rocks. I call them moon boots. When you've got a really good shoe and you're getting on a rock and you're traversing a rock in our bush, you want the shoe to sit there and not to slide off. So if you've got a good grip, it's going to hang on to that rock and you're just going to feel like you're stuck. Moon boots, you know, when you're on the moon, they're stuck there. They're fantastic. So a sole to me is probably the most important part. Gore-Tex, absolutely mandatory. And then you can work on the brand. The brand's irrelevant. It's what fits you the best. I love Solomon's. I've had so many pairs of Solomon's. But recently I tried Merrell's and they were great as well. I went back to Solomon's. I bought these last week. Do yourself a favour. Look around. Shop around. Anaconda have a great sale on at the moment. But obviously there's always sales on at Kathmandu and all the other stores. So have a look around and see what you can find. You can also buy differing types of boots. So these ones here are my more mountaineering boots. These are boot versus a shoe. You know, again, in Sydney, a shoe's about all you need. But if you're going hiking in any of these beautiful countries of the world, in Nepal or Peru or anywhere else, you might want a boot style. This particular one is actually a proper mountaineering boot. Can you see I'm putting all my strength on and I cannot bend that? Whereas here, nice and flexible, nice shoe. These babies are designed specifically for me going into snow, climbing up big mountains. I wore these when I went to climb the fabulous, more pictures for you today, the fabulous Matterhorn in July. So I had to buy these specifically for that, and they take crampons and they're spectacular. They're not cheap. Don't highly recommend them to anyone else unless you come with me on a big monster trek. But these are perfect, and a boot version of these are great for any of this trekking that we do. So shoes, that's number 3, is make sure they've got a great sole. Pick your brand, whatever you find and fancy, and look for sales. The last point is don't rush your purchase. Try them on. You think they're great, try them on again, walk around the store for half an hour. This is your shoe. This is a big investment. They'll last you a couple of years, 3 to 5 years. You want to make sure they're great. And also ask the store if you can return them, because I bought these in Anaconda last week and I said, can I return them? They said yes, as long as they're in the same condition that we arrived in. So I could have easily worn them on a hike, cleaned them up, and they were fine to go back had they not fitted. So hiking boots, most companies will take them back if they don't fit. So that is my tip of the week, how to buy yourself some hiking shoes for Christmas. Don't forget to put that on Santa's list. So in finishing, thanks again for your feedback, everybody, and don't forget, keep writing feedback during the replay, because you might have some other tips that you can give our audience on how to survive the silly season. What are some tips you can do when going out to functions to manage that, so that we can keep our weight in the same plateau that it is now. So try to make December your fitness month. Start to build healthy habits of exercise now so that you can maintain that through the Christmas shutdown and throughout January. And remember, movement is the best present you can give yourself. Movement is the best present you can give yourself. So take this time in December to keep moving, to keep exercising, whether that's just walking or getting to the gym, but movement is your best friend. I heard someone say the other day that, everyone's living for such a long time now. We know people are living to 90. But they said, are we dying for such a long time? So we don't want to do that. We want to live a healthy and happy life right up until We don't want to live a healthy and happy life. So right up until our 90s and our 100s by the time we get there. So movement is your best friend. So I'll see you next week live on the couch. If there's any topics you'd like me to cover, please put them down. We'd love to discuss them with you. In the meantime, have a safe and happy week. This has been Sonia Ray. Have a sterling day.